What is going on, Busy Bariatrics? I'm Rob, your favorite VSG man turned bariatric coach, here to help you stop white knuckling your way through chicken, broccoli, and dietary meal plans, ditch the burn boot camps that leave you sweaty but still stuck, and finally fix the habits, patterns, and behaviors that got you here in the first place. Let's get gritty, let's get honest, and let's get busy. Now, before we dive in, you gotta do me a solid. Can you screenshot this episode, share it onto your socials, and tag me? Not just to support the show, but because someone in your circuit will probably needs to hear Angie's story today. Let's help more bariatric patients know they're not uncoachable, they just haven't worked with us yet. In today's episode, I cannot wait to tell you about Angie because I've been looking forward to doing this for a hot minute. Angie has joined our group Thrive Inside the Hive and is doing phenomenal. She joined the Hive looking for accountability, structure, and a community that doesn't just talk about change, but actually does the work. Since then, she's completely reshaped her body composition. The scale has been moving in the proper direction, and her muscle definition has exploded in the best way possible. That right there is the lesson we're going to be talking about, that the scale does not tell the full story. She's not just putting on muscle, though. Angie has become the kind of person who runs 5Ks with her grandkids, who trades food gifts for life experiences, and who literally hauls bricks and builds latrines on mission trips because her body is now strong enough to let her live the life she actually wants and inspire others. And here's what I love the most. She didn't do it by hiding in the background. She leaned into daily workout feedback, she showed up for coaching calls, and supported other members early in their own journey. That's really the power that we have in the Hive. You don't just get coached, you become part of something bigger that pushes you forward. So today we're going to dive into how she did it, the mindset, the habits, and the community piece that changed everything for her. Because if you're still out there chasing the scale or waiting for perfect timing, her story might be the wake-up call you need. Angie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Long enough intro for you?
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Perfect. So for people who don't know you that yet, though, can you share your journey before finding the Hive, and what were some of the things that you were doing in your bariatric journey?
Well, I had surgery in February of 2021. Let's see, at that point, was close to 250 pounds, and I had the BSG, and then I started just mainly walking. Then eventually, started running. I got stagnant in that. Got COVID about a year ago, and breathing wasn't great. Had troubles with running, and so scale started going in the wrong direction, and so I needed to do something different. So I started lifting weights.
And it's been phenomenal. Now, before you joined, did you lift weights before? Was it something you dabbled in, or were you completely ice cold?
No, in fact, I had an arm issue, if you remember that lateral epicondylitis, that I couldn't even pick up my bowling ball for about 6 months. And so when I started the Busy Bariatrics, I'd just done physical therapy that didn't work on it, and maybe started trying to pick up the bowling ball again for a couple weeks when I started doing this. So I'm actually back to bowling because of it.
And it's phenomenal seeing you not only break down gym intimidation, get into your workouts, progress your weights with our amazing assistant coach Lisa. You've really dove into it. Did you have any hesitation at all when you were getting in the gym besides the minor injury?
Oh yeah, because I started out thinking I was going to do it all at home. You can ask Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
I was rearranging my furniture so that I could make it be like the incline bench, and I had like 5 and 10 pound weights, and that was about it. And she's like, "No, that's not good enough. You're going to have to go to the gym." So I went to the gym and tried to sneak in there, and then eventually you kind of have to just not sneak in there because you have to get your foot in the door to get some of the equipment.
Absolutely. I think that's probably one of the trickiest parts right off the bat is just when you're used to working in a home gym, you're obviously comfortable because you know where your living room is, you know exactly where the dumbbells are. But something that we really pride ourselves in Busy Bariatrics is helping our clients break down that gym intimidation, get in to start lifting weights, and really develop a program. What were some of the techniques that helped you kind of get your feet in the door and help you build confidence as you started going to the gym?
Let's see. I'm not sure what you mean by like techniques.
Did you notice that your first workout went okay? Did you need encouragement from the Hive? Kind of what was going on? Were you nervous getting into the gym?
I was a little nervous, yeah. So I guess I went the first couple of times when it wasn't quite as busy. And then I figured out I could actually lift a little more than I thought I could. And so that made me a little more confident. And then just the more I started going, the more you start like kind of seeing the same people. And, they're you can kind of just tell whether or not you're doing the right things by watching other people kind of and even how they react to the way you're doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just such an important lesson is kind of getting your foot in there and then just finding the times in the day when the gym's a little lighter. So sometimes mornings and evenings or whatever you can pump in to your schedule and then just slowly starting to progress the weights. And it's probably one of the coolest parts is as people start to progress their weights, they realize like I'm so capable of doing so much more. Is there an exercise that you were kind of like the most excited about or that you were like, I can do this?
I think now the most I'm excited about is doing like anything on the Smith machine. I don't know why, but there's only four of them at my Planet Fitness. It's like the most coveted thing. You can tell there's people like standing behind you, like kind of eyeing it and everything. And I'm like, no, I'm here, you know, doing my thing, you know.
The waiting line for the Smith machine at every Planet Fitness. I don't care what time of day you go, what location, you can go coast to coast. Getting the Smith machine is coveted. What's your favorite exercise to do on the Smith machine?
I don't know. I think kind of, I don't know why, but the bent over row.
Yeah.
I don't know because I think I can do, you know, I think I'm at 85 pounds, which I never thought I'd be. And I think it surprised me the most.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal because it's a great back exercise and it helps build that great definition with lats and delts and all the good muscles that it activates. And it's also like a very deceptively, like you realize how strong your back is in a bent over row because if you start at the bar, you're at about 45 pounds, like, oh, I can do this. And as you gently
Hmm.
keep increasing weight, getting up to 85 pounds is amazing for as early as we did. So when you started getting into your gym, when you started building the routine, what were some of the other like reasons why the gym started to become important for you?
Just because I don't know, consistency for me, it's kind of accountability because not only am I, like posting about it in our group chat, but, they recognize you when you walk in the door. And so, if you haven't been there in a few days, it's like, hey, how you been? It's like somebody knew that I was gone. So I guess that's been encouraging for me. I don't necessarily talk to a lot of people while I'm there, but you kind of have that unwritten, that unspoken things, like
Absolutely.
certain people that do certain equipment, you kind of know, like, I think they're probably watching for it, and so somebody else might be trying to walk upon you, and you're like, no, this person's been over here, waiting for a little while, they're next, and you have somebody else kind of do that for you.
Between you and me, do you give nicknames to the regulars? Because I have
In
names
my
for
head,
everyone.
yeah,
It's always in your head, but like
yeah.
I have names for people, and if you were like, what is their actual government name? I'd fail
I
hard.
have no idea.
I've talked
No
to some
idea.
people for like years and they're like, well, what's his name? It's like, oh, we call him Tiger King because he always has like the cutoff sleeve shirt and a trucker
Yep.
hat on. And
Yep.
you get these weird nicknames for people and it's like, oh, that's how I know them. But if there was
No
ever an
idea what the real
emergency,
name is.
yeah,
No.
no need. But it's also like, it's funny for me because the gym culture really reminded me of bar culture when I started to tend bar and then when I spent way too much time in bars where you see the same faces. It's comfortable,
Hmm.
it's rewarding, and it's just such a healthier way to connect with people and get a feel for it. What is your favorite time of day to go to the gym now?
If I go to early church service, it's when everybody else is still in church, honestly, because it's midday on a Sunday and there's nobody there.
It's always the best way to do it. You know, as a Catholic, it's like we do a little bit of the opposite approach. We have the 11 o'clock mass. So Planet
Hmm.
Fitness opens at 7. So me and Adam will go in early and it's like, okay, I know I have to sit quietly for an hour. So I push myself a little harder on Sunday
Hmm.
workouts, if only to kind of balance everything else. Now, coming into Busy Bariatrics, we kind of overwhelm our clients a lot by giving them so much. Did you feel like there was any overwhelm there, or did you kind of overcome or settle in?
I don't really, because I kind of followed you already on things, and I knew how intense you were with all the workout stuff and everything. And so I don't know, I think it just made it more comfortable. It was just like, I don't know, finding a new group of friends.
It is a nice part of our program because I feel like everyone kind of is working in our group. And you see it, we don't really sit in our issues. Like we all have our struggles, but it's also like, here's how we are overcoming them. And we all support each other. Like, hey, have you tried doing this? What about this technique? And plays a big role. Since you've like gotten settled into the hive and you've been getting into the gym, your body comp has completely reshaped yourself. And it's been so awesome. For the listeners, can you kind of tell what's been going on and how we've kind of been working on that?
So I've gained a lot of like, I don't know, upper body strength, upper
Hmm.
body, like my arm muscles and everything. I never thought I'd be a tank top person, but I'm a tank top person. And I actually, like I said the other night, it's kind of a mind game, mind warp. I've actually gone up a little bit in my sizes of my pants because my thigh muscles. I guess I have, I'm thick thighed, but in a good way. So you go down in the weight and you're like down, down, down. I was an extra small, and now I'm going back up to like a medium, and not in a bad way. I mean, I've gained a little weight. Most of it is muscle, not all, but I just
Look,
feel so much stronger.
looking at your number, like there's so much great stuff there. The tank top flex I always think is good because I think for a lot of our female clients, a big concern coming in is I'm going to gain weight from lifting and I'm going to look bulky. Whereas you, it's really built this like toned definition in your arms. You feel more confident wearing a tank top, and you're still running 5Ks and bowling and showing up for yourself. So you've built this like good balance of, being strong and being confident. What are some ways that like your confidence has shifted since getting into the gym and living the rest of your life?
Well, I mean, like my confidence at the gym, I no longer feel like, oh, I'm just taking up space at this machine that somebody else wants. I feel like, no, I have a right to be here, and this is my turn, and I'm not going to feel rushed. Also not going to be one that's going to sit there and play on my phone, in between sets for like longer than you need to rest, because that is one of my pet peeves is seeing somebody hog a machine. But so my confidence just in being able to do what I need to do at the gym and not feel rushed. I guess.
I always say like it's the trickiest part, especially because all of our coaching is from an app. So it's like we always look like we're typing furiously, but you can always tell the difference. I always say like if it's a thumber presser and you can tell like, oh, it's been 90 seconds, they're going right back in. But then you have some people where if I see the finger swipe go up a couple of
Huh?
times, I'm like, oh, you are just playing and this is a jungle gym for you. So we've gotten you into this gym confidence. Everything is going well. You also do like missionary work. Can you kind of tell us like how
Yes.
missionary work has changed for you?
Yeah, so I've been doing missionary work since 2000, and that was when I was going up and down in the weights, and so I would tend to do some of the easier jobs. Like I might be packing things in the bags to go out, to the community or what have you. But I always felt like if we were walking up into the mountains, say when we would go in Haiti, we would get a bunch of goats and we would walk them up to people in the mountains to give to people, that couldn't afford things. And we'd be carrying big bags of beans and rice and everything. And I always felt like I was holding up the group. I'd be one of the last ones and I'd
Mm-hmm.
be huffing and puffing. And I just, I've always wondered, am I doing the good that I should be? And so now when I go, even just since having my surgery and the running and everything, but especially like this year when I went in June, I was able to, pick up a latrine and move it from A to B. And, a couple other people are guiding it. But when I look back at the video my husband took, it was like, okay, I think I might have been doing the majority of the work. Um, just, being able to, we made cobblestones while I was there, that they actually paved the roads with. And I could pick up 4 or 5 of those, big heavy things and move them, clear across the property. Maybe I think I even had a couple in each hand, couldn't have done that before. I mean, I was actually kind of jumping in and not being voluntold to do stuff. So
Such an awesome thing. Before we dive in, because I want to talk a little bit more about the missionary work, is the latrine full when you're moving it?
no, it's
Okay,
new.
good. I've been meaning to ask because when we're like, oh, she's moving latrines, and when I told the
No,
story
no,
to someone
no.
else,
So we
they're like,
build the latrines and then we move them to the spot that they need to go. So we have pre-poured bases that we move from the property. We put them in a truck, take them up to the wherever the house is that we're going to do it, and the family has to actually dig the hole, like 6 or 10 feet down. That's their buy-in, and then we build the latrines. The walls are kind of prefab,
yeah,
I
yeah,
should say. You still have to put it all together and
yeah.
move it to where you're going. But my group actually got it down to where we could get one put together in about 20 to 25 minutes.
That's like so impressive. And
So,
that's something I always say, like when we talk about like functional fitness or practicality,
mhm.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's in the best way possible. When you're like, hey, what workout should I do when I'm doing missionary work? And I'm like, well, what are you doing each day for missionary work? And when you give a, like, can you walk through for people who don't understand the amount of work that goes in a typical day as a missionary?
Okay. Well, I'll say like where I go to Honduras now. And I mean, just even getting from your cabin to where you eat breakfast, I mean, it might be, half a mile to three-quarter of a mile a walk uphill. And then
So
you
you're already
ride in.
doing incline cardio for a good like 30
Oh,
minutes
yeah.
just to
Yeah.
get a meal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, uh, well, let's see. I mean, you ride just to hold yourself stable in one of the vehicles sometimes when you're going,
Yeah.
in the mountain. Like you are using your leg muscles just to keep yourself stable because you don't wear a seatbelt. It's actually safer not to
It's
because you
very
might get. So, and then we are carrying like all kinds of equipment, maybe down this narrow path, trying not to sprain your ankle because you're stepping on different rocks. It's hard to explain, but I mean, you're going all kinds of different terrains just to get there, and you're carrying all this equipment to build the latrines. And sometimes you're taking food, or sometimes you're taking different things that are needed for the families, just whatever they need, whatever we know about ahead of time. And it's you're using every muscle.
it's definitely like a functional level of work, but it's like such rewarding things that you're doing. And the fact that like your fitness is kind of like fueled to help you do these things has to be such an inspirational part of your day.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you did notice I did get a workout in while I was there.
Don't
The
worry. It all got logged and we got feedback.
And then there's a place called Prayer Rock that we walk up to, and that's optional. But of course, I had to do it a couple times. And there's beautiful views. But like that was one of the other things when I went in 2018. The very first time I went to Honduras to go up to Prayer Rock, like I was so out of breath, I had to stop a couple of times. And it's not even like distance wise, it's not that far. It's just the train to get there. But so I went last year and I could do it fairly well. But this year it was just like, oh, I'm just like hopping along on the rocks. So
It's got to be the best part of your fitness journey, or at least
yeah.
I would think it's part of the best part of your fitness journey is just now you get to do this really like soul filling work. You get to
Hmm.
help a community who absolutely needs, but more importantly, the physical shift of you like going from huffing and puffing and keeping the back of the line to
Hmm.
now you're almost mountain goating yourself up and leading the pack. It's such a cool transformation.
Yeah, I'm not as concentrated on like myself and what I'm doing or what I'm, lacking or whatever. I'm more able to put everything I've got into the mission work.
And it's such a great way to do it. Now, you've also shared, so I feel comfortable asking, you are a grandmother now,
Yes, my son is engaged to a woman that has 4 kids. They've been together for a couple of years, so those are my grandkids.
which is so awesome. And you, like, here's the best part about Angie, people. If you're listening, Angie never really leads with anything, but then when you start talking to her, she lets out these things like, oh, yes, I'm going to Honduras, and like I build latrines and I carry them up the mountainside. Or she'll like very subtly be like, oh, yeah, I spent some time with my granddaughter. I'm like, oh, what'd you do? It's like ran a 5K together.
for her birthday.
Yeah, but it, like such, and when like that's always the best part is you sprinkle in these little things, and I was like, oh, how did you get involved with that? Can you just kind of share how you used to celebrate prior to bariatric surgery and like what you do now?
Like celebrate like birthdays and
Yeah.
stuff with people. Like I mean, I would, just buy gifts or food or, order pizza and, everything. And now it's just like, no, let's get out in nature. Let's go do something. Let's, go for a walk, go for a run. And I actually only started doing the 5Ks in March a year ago. And I just counted and I've done 28.
28 5Ks since March.
Yeah, of
That is,
last year, March of last year.
I
But
know, but
still,
still,
yeah.
this is going to come out in January, so it's like it's almost going to be within 2 years. By that math, it's just phenomenal. So what how did you kind of get into that? Because we always talk about like healthy sources of dopamine, and I think one of the problems we see in the bariatric community, or at least prior to bariatric surgery, you kind of celebrate by doing like, oh, I lost all this weight. Well, how do you celebrate? I'm going out to like a big dinner. It's like it's kind of counterintuitive. You've kind of taken this approach of like we want to get into experiences. So
Yes.
how does that show up for you and your family now?
Well, like you said, the experiences, I've decided, like my mom with my kids, decided a long time ago she wasn't going to always be buying, gifts and stuff. She was going to do experiences with them. And so, like, that's why I did the 5K for, my oldest granddaughter, because, um, that's something that they'll be able to remember. A year ago, almost a year ago, for the second youngest granddaughter, I took her to the Frozen the Musical, which again was, another trek down into Houston and quite a walk once we got there, and the things I couldn't have done before. And of course, she had to dress up, so she's in her princess outfit, and I just more about doing the experiences instead of the gifts that everybody can throw away.
I think building memories is just such a beautiful thing. And every time
Hmm.
you share where it's something as simple as like going for a 5K or going bowling or going to see Frozen, there's all these like really awesome, either physical or just being present moments that you share with people. And I think it's such a great way to get healthy sources of dopamine as opposed to having it be another event around food, or if it's with adults, obviously alcohol or anything else. So it's just really cool to see that like you have this mindset shift and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, the 5Ks, like how I started with those actually was I was running already on the treadmill and everything. And my Sunday morning ladies Bible study class, one of the gals in there, she's been doing 5Ks, 10Ks, halves for, since the early 90s. And she's 60 years old, good friend of mine.
Isn't that
And
awesome?
our ladies Bible study, our ladies minister, she had her get up and kind of talk about it. And she knew that I was running, our ladies Bible study minister did. And she says, hey, Cassie, you might want to talk to Angie because she likes to run. And my friend Cassie just took a run for it. And she's like, we're doing this. You're now my friend, we're buddy, and we're doing this. And so I say she voluntold me for those, but
I will say though, it's always in the best way. I feel like when
yes.
people know there's a gentle connection of physicality, it becomes, oh, we're going to go lift, or we're going to go run, or we're going to go bowl. It's just
Hmm.
makes it like so much better to connect with people over a physical activity when there's a connection.
Well, and then there's a couple of us in the bariatric community that, talk about running and stuff, Lori, Eric, and so like when they found out I was doing that too, they cheered me on as well. And so it's kind of that camaraderie as well. The running community and the lifting community, they're, very forgiving and accepting in most ways, but also like, hey, where you been? You know?
It's the best way possible, and I think it's one of the reasons why I built Busy Bariatrics is you want to be able to connect with people who just get it and get that like we might not naturally want to do this every day, and that even though we may make it look easy some days, we have our challenging points in our lives, and just having someone to be able to gently say like, hey, where you been, everything good,
Hmm.
makes a world of difference. So
Yeah, we're all a little awkward when it comes to this stuff, but that's, we all know that, because we were all bigger at one time, right? And so that you're going to have that awkwardness. And so, we cheer each other on.
exactly. So you're doing this ministry work. you're bowling, you're running 5Ks, you're lifting. Walk us through like what a day in the life of Angie looks like to stay this active. From like, what are you eating? When are you getting up? Like, give us just like a day in the life of Angie.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm a pretty routine person. So when I get up, I mean, I have my bottle of water and I drink two of these on my way to work every day, and a big coffee. So, I have an hour drive. So I also know where most of the bathrooms are.
I'm always amazed because like when we went over water goals, I think you were like, yeah, I have about like 64 ounces on my ride in between like
Yeah.
224 containers
Yep.
and then the
Yep.
coffee. And I'm
Yep.
just sitting there doing the math of like, she's one of the toughest people I know. Like Houston traffic is no joke. And
Yep.
like you're
Yep.
really toying with like fate, I have to tell you. Like, oh, how do you start your day? It's like I put 64 ounces in me, then I get in a car and I drive into Houston.
Yeah, I drink all of that on the way, but like I said, I know exactly where all the bathrooms are. And then once I get to work, I make vegetarian egg bites, and
Mhm.
so I always make those up, put them in the freezer, and so beginning of the week I take them all to work, and then I have a couple of those when I get to work, usually with another cup of coffee. But I've had my water, so I'm good.
I think like even because everyone always says like I look horrible in our group chat because I'm like, guys, like limit your coffee consumption. But if everyone did it the way you did it, I think I wouldn't have to be so grumpy because even just starting with like, even if it was as little as 12 ounces, the fact that you're like getting an even amount of coffee and hydration to start, then you're getting like a lean protein with the egg bite.
Yep.
It's a
Yep.
really good start. Now, if people don't know, what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm a registered nurse and I'm in outpatient wound care.
Perfect. So, how long are the shifts for a registered nurse in outpatient wound care?
Well, usually 8 to 9 hours, but like this week it's 10. So it varies. It varies.
All right. So, you're working
Never
a
as
day.
short as they say it is.
It never is. It's funny because we were talking about that earlier of just nurse work. I think it is like teachers where it's like, yes, this is the standard contract hours. Nobody works them. And it's, you don't really know what your day looks like until you really get into the thick of it. So, how do you
Hmm.
manage your nutrition on a schedule that has like a lot of weird, tricky variables of how busy it is, how slow it can be sometimes, even though it's kind of more busy than it ever is slow?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I keep snacks around like chomps or like I like the dive bars. So those are my like mid-morning snacks type of thing, or mid-afternoon, depending on the day. And I keep my water bottle that talks to me, so it lights up and tells me when I need to be drinking. And so that also vibrates on my wrist. So, if I'm in between things and it's vibrated, I'm like, okay, I gotta go, gotta go take a drink. And then I just pretty much I have routine things that I keep at work. If my lunch is gonna be cut short, I have some of those just paired chicken. I think it's just fair. I have that, and then I have the broccoli cheese steamers, the Green Giant steamers.
Yeah.
Keep that in the freezer at work. So that's my go-to if I don't get a chance to grab something. And my grab something is, usually either like a chicken dish or something from downstairs if I didn't pack something. But I always keep the freezer stocked.
I think it's such a wise and easy thing to do because that's always the biggest thing I hear is like, oh, I end up getting fast food. And it's like, I actually like Just Bar like chicken patties. I had one for dinner tonight because it was back to school day. And like the schedule was just like, I got home exhausted before this. Was like, I have 20 minutes. I'm putting it in the air fryer. I'm making a sandwich and then I'm just moving about the day as opposed to stopping for fast food or getting something else. I know exactly what to track and kind of go with it.
Yeah, yeah. So, and there may be some times where I have two meals or the egg bites. I
Yeah.
mean, it's healthy, it's protein, you know,
I
gets
also
it all
say,
in.
yeah. And I also say, like, when you get really good at mastering your meal planning and prep, none of the meals feel terrible. Like it's
No,
everyone's like, you eat the same three or four things. I'm like, yeah, but I really like those three or four things. And I just kind of rotate a little bit of like my Monday to Thursday meal, my like Friday, Saturday, Sunday meal when I have a little bit more time and kind of work in from there. And I do the same thing for lunch.
I do have a weakness for Chick-fil-A, but I try to be fairly healthy. get the cool wrap or get the grilled nuggets. My biggest weakness there, though, is the cookie.
Yeah, it's a deceptively good cookie
Uh-huh.
to the point where it's like I will personally say I have to forget that there is a cookie there.
Yeah.
But I do like Chick-fil-A, and I will say, like, just getting the spicy number two is kind of like that's kind of my jam. Like, I'll probably have Chick-fil-A maybe half a dozen times a year.
Yeah. See, that's my go-to, like when I go to bowling Monday nights. I mean, just because it's on the way and it's the least of the bad things.
Yeah.
But if I order the cookie, there's been a couple times where I've ordered the cookie and I'm like, they forgot to put it in the bag, and I'm like, I guess I really didn't need it.
See, that's where you are a kinder person than I am. If I ordered the cookie, and especially if I paid for the cookie, you better believe I'm rolling around the drive-through again and saying I
Not
did
in
not.
Houston traffic.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Well, I just got to move to Houston, and then the Chick-fil-A is a little bit safer. So yeah, and then like in your evenings, you're bowling, you're getting to the gym, you're having a fairly active day. Like you're going close to how long before you get home again?
About 9 o'clock usually, if I go to the gym or everything. But I think we call it stack some things. I might be, listening. I might be on one of our calls, but I might be at the gym and just stop between exercises, or I compromise because I like baseball.
I was
Did
not
this for
going.
you.
I know. For those of you watching on YouTube, don't worry. There's only 5 people who watch the YouTube video, but Angie is in Astros gear, and as a Phillies fan, I just can't. And it comes up in the most polite, lovingly way possible. But I will tell you, Angie, like I noticed the shirt, I bit my tongue, and I'm just glad we got to the 35-minute mark before it came on.
So what I was saying was I will listen to a game, but I'll be working out. So I stack the things. I don't miss out on anything.
And I think that's such a great way to do habit stacking. And it's always so phenomenal because we don't necessarily call out or say to anyone who's on our calls, like, hey, you have to speak. But every now and then, Angie, you always come in and you share some really good insight, or it just helps to have a registered nurse who will give like some perspective when people are like, does this hurt? Should I do this? And all of a sudden you'll hear the clanking in the background, but you'll hear Angie say, no, you need to call your surgeon right now or deal with your medical provider. But then I'll be like, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, I'm in between sets. And it's just a testament of why we love how you set the example. And we have so many clients who do that, who are on the Stairmaster when they're in our community calls. They're listening to it in the car while they're doing carpool. Habit stacking is a really good technique. What are some other habits that you've kind of stacked to make sure that your day fits? Because by my math, you're having these 14-hour days more often than you're not.
So, I love to read and everything too. So I will like listen to podcasts or listen to books. I do that while I'm driving so I don't get stressed out in
Mm-hmm.
Houston traffic. But I don't know, I just kind of I stack everything. I mean,
It's such a
I
good part.
multitask and hopefully well.
It's how I get through all my podcasts is like when
Yeah.
I'm walking or doing anything, I kind of like someone else's voice other than the one in my head going off. But it also like it makes it like laundry folding's not too bad when I'm going through and I'm like, oh, I'm listening to a podcast I like, or I'm learning something is another really cool part. So
Yes.
so we have these awesome days. You've completely like retooled everything. What are your like next goals in the next couple months and years as you kind of settle into Busy Bariatrics and in your bariatric lifestyle?
I used to run like 4 to 5 days a week, and I want to get back to that a little more as well as the lifting and everything. But I feel like when I did my run on Saturday, when it finally cools down a little bit here in Houston, I feel like my legs have gotten stronger, and so I'm going to be able to pick it up again a little bit better when I'm not struggling to breathe in the heat. So
We
I
are
guess my
very happy to
next
hear that
goal
you are pacing yourself until it's a little cooler and doing all of that.
is just to get back at running a little bit more.
Perfect. And I love that. If someone was on the fence about joining Busy Bariatrics, what would you tell them?
I would just say try it, give it a shot. I'm not sure what the minimum time is, but I would say give it a shot. You're stronger than you think you are. And I mean, just the community itself is worth it. Just the support, the amount of support, you don't get that everywhere. everything is positive, and as you always say, we don't sit in our issues. So if there is something that's bothering you about, about your journey, or you have a question about, everybody is so willing to help. You put it in there, and within minutes somebody's responding, or something. I'll get on there and I'll be like 65 messages. I swear I checked this at noon.
It is comical because I'll look at my alerts and I'll be like, oh my goodness, it's been a busy day. But I'm always proud to see that too, that I think our clients do a really good job, and you do it all the time, of you answer each other's questions in a very positive action-based way of, okay, if you're struggling with this, then try that. And that's something that you're right, we don't see in every community. And I think all it takes is going into a couple different Facebook groups or things, and it either becomes a pity party or here's every reason why bariatric surgery has failed me. And we really take the approach of like, no, here's like the items you might want to consider purchasing. Here's some recipes you might want to try. We really do take a fun approach with that. So with that in mind, we're getting close to the end of the episode. Do you know how we close out these episodes?
No.
Perfect. It's okay. Nobody listens to them anyway. So it's
No,
like,
I do listen, but you got me.
We're going to go through the busy method, and you're going to share a little bit of your favorite stuff. So the B is for building habits. What's the best habit you've built in your bariatric journey?
Starting out with protein and water.
Love it. Well, now it's going to be tricky because the U is understanding nutrition, and you've already used protein and water. What's another thing that people should know about nutrition?
That you need to fuel your body throughout the day, not just breakfast, lunch, and supper. You need to have those snacks.
Love it. Yeah. Okay. S is for staying active. Favorite way to stay active. And you have so many. I'm curious to see which one gets picked.
I'm going to actually say the gym now.
Really?
Yeah.
Over running?
Yeah.
Wow. That's such a transformation from like even when we were in St. Louis. I'm happy to hear that, but I look at it as I'm sure you take a motherly approach of there's room for all your loves of movement. But
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you're loving the gym.
I wasn't doing the gym yet when we went to St. Louis, so I got my membership right after. No. Yeah, I got it right after.
No, it's been so awesome to see. The why is showing up for yourself. What's your favorite way to show up for yourself at this point? And you could probably give 50 answers for this too.
Showing up for myself, I would say once I've accomplished everything for the day, I like to just treat myself to a little relaxing and reading.
Love it. Can I ask what you're reading right now as of this recording?
What am I not reading? I have books everywhere.
Are you like a book, like you have 3 or 4 books going at one time?
Yeah. I have one on the Kindle. I'll tell you the title in 2 seconds here. It's just a fun one. I think it's Frida something or other. I don't know. It's just a fun book.
Yeah.
Frida McFadden. That's who my daughter got me started on her.
Nice. I am more of the stubborn, I don't get a new book till I complete another book. So even if now I'm going to ask a couple book questions.
Okay.
If you don't like a book, will you not finish it?
I will go to the end or towards the end and kind of get a little glimpse of what's going on and then decide.
Really? That's like another cardinal. I guess
I might, if it's a book that people have recommended over and over and I can't physically like get into it reading it, I might try listening.
Not a bad way. I always say, like, I feel like I get frustrated when people recommend me a book and it gets recommended multiple times, and I'm not going to share the name of it. Not that they would listen to it anyway, but then I'll be like, I really didn't like that. And I don't get why everyone else does. But then I'm like, maybe I'm just a little different. So, all right. Final one is the exclamation point, healthy source of dopamine. What's your favorite healthy source of dopamine these days?
Just getting out in nature.
So good. What is like the best naturey thing to do in the Houston, Texas area?
You have to get used to the heat.
Yes.
I'm not a beach person, so I'm not going to go to Galveston. But for me, it's we have a lake by our house. It's just to get out and walk around the lake. Just enjoy the water in that way.
That's beautiful. I love it. All right. If there's anything else that you would want us to know about you or what you've done, or if you give one last piece of parting advice as we finish this episode, what would you want to leave on?
I would say believe in yourself. You can do more than you think you can, and just keep getting busy.
Love it. All right, Busy Bariatrics. If this episode hit, that means it's time to stop collecting awareness and start applying action. Don't just nod along, go prove to yourself that you're coachable, consistent, and capable. And hey, if this podcast has helped you in any way, the best way to support the show without spending a dime is to leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps more bariatric patients find this no BS guidance, and it tells the algorithm that we're done with the fluffy weight loss advice and ready for the real stuff. The best part is, I read every single review because there's only like 4 of them that comes in each month. So go ahead and comment and I will leave you a personalized message. And just like Angie said, keep getting busy. Thanks again, Angie.